Hey guys, Andrew McFarland here from StartAJuiceBar.com. Hope you guys are happy and healthy. Today we are talking about how to deal with some of the most common problems that come up in a juice bar business. Before I dive in though, if you guys are new to the channel and you don't know who I am or what we do, just to let you know quickly, I've been in this business for over 11 years. Myself and my company has had the pleasure of helping hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs all over the world launch and scale successful juice concepts, smoothie concepts, acai bowl businesses, and more, as well as running our businesses in this sector. So all the information on this channel is coming from this experience. Early invitation, press the like button. I know you'll like the video even more if you do that. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss any new content that comes out. Now, let's dive in. As you know, no business and nothing in life is not without challenges. There are problems. There are going to be things that come up that you don't expect. The point of this video is to make you aware of the most common things that I've observed that come up and really what you need to do preemptively to mitigate and resolve and hopefully not really have these problems. And I want you to listen to this because I remember many years back I was speaking to somebody who called me after they were watching the channel for, they said, for years, because we have, hundreds and hundreds of videos on this channel, and they were like, oh, my business is struggling, I'm in this challenge, and I realized everything that you said that I should do, I didn't do, and now I'm having the same problems you told me I would have. And so I just, for me, when I hear things like that, it's really discouraging because the whole point of this channel is that you guys listen to the content and you really take heed of it and you take on the strategy so that you guys can avoid making the most common mistakes and avoid making mistakes that I made in my business as well, so you can be more successful and you can have an easier process throughout the entire time. So let's start. What's the first most common problem that I see, and what's my suggestion for dealing with this? It is, firstly, having dissatisfied customers, okay? No matter what business you're in, you're not going to be able to control every customer's experience and reaction. The truth is, some people may just not like a product that they order. It doesn't mean that the product is bad. It just means that they didn't like it. They might not be happy with the customer service time because you came in and for some reason you were short-staffed. Somebody got sick and they didn't show up to work, or somebody just decided to quit on the job. There's going to be all kinds of things that come up that you can't control that you're going to have to deal with. Okay, so how do you do it? Well, one of the first things that I always say is that depending on the situation, you're going to have a multitude of reactions. So for example, if somebody doesn't like the product that they've gotten, you might ask them and inquire more deeply, okay, can you tell me what you didn't like about it? They might say, oh, it was too sweet. Can we make it for you again and maybe just reduce some of the whatever the sweetener is in that product, right? Or I didn't like it because it was warm. If they give you and you intend to inquire a little bit more deeply, you can find out what their issue is and hopefully make them a product that they do love and like and enjoy. Because having a customer who is really committed to your business is worth going that extra mile to figure out what it is that they don't like about the product. Now, there might be other things that come up that are sort of in a larger spectrum. They got the wrong order. They had to wait around too long. In situations where people are waiting very long, make sure you acknowledge them. Maybe you want to give them a dessert for free or something else, or a credit for another drink, 50% off, or next time they come into the store, hey, I want to get you a free smoothie, right? Be generous. And then the last thing for overall sort of miscellaneous customer dissatisfactions, I would say when you speak to that customer or your management staff, whoever is there, a shift leader, just putting it in the customer's hands, acknowledge what their issue is. I'm sorry X, Y, and Z happened. I can understand that would be very frustrating for you. I really get that. What can we do to make it better? Right? That's sort of like a universal question that you can always ask, which one, makes the customer know that you intend on making it better, and two, puts the ball in their court. And what you'll find is most oftentimes people aren't going to ask and request for things that are crazy. They might say, you know what, I just wanted to share that with you guys because it felt really important to share. They might say, hey, next time it would be great if you comped me a smoothie or a meal or a juice or something. But most of the time, people aren't going to make requests that are just so unfounded and ungrounded that you can't provide those requests and fulfill those requests for them. And if they do, then obviously you say, hey, we can't do that, but maybe we can do this for you, right? As opposed to just telling someone, no, we can't do that. And so That's a general, just blanket question you can always ask people by first acknowledging what's happened and gone wrong, and then what can you make it better? So that's the first thing I want to say. And there's a lot around that. I have a whole 30-minute video in our online course, links below, on customer service. But just wanted to share that piece of it because you are going to have customers that are dissatisfied. And the last thing that I want to say before moving on around that is you're going to get reviews on Google and Yelp that aren't great. The one thing I want to say for sure is go and respond to those reviews. On Yelp, you can go in and say, okay, hey, I acknowledge that this happened. I'd like to look into it further, or what can we do to make it better? Hey, come in, I'd like to comp you. Because customers are going to look at those reviews. One of the first things that anybody's going to do is when they see you on Yelp is they're going to look and say, what's the worst reviews that are out there? And one way you can kind of neutralize that experience is at least being upfront and acknowledging those things and looking to make good on those mistakes if there were some, okay? That's the first thing. So what's the second most common problem that I see? It is dealing with difficult employees. Now, people management is one of the hardest parts of having any business because you have to have a staff that is inspired, motivated, consistent, has high quality, high standards for the quality of their work and all of this. So what do you do to mitigate this risk and also deal with this situation? The first thing is you got to hire well, okay? When you have better employees, things are just better. If you hired pretty well, but there's still people that are difficult, you have to first assess what is the foundation of the issue with these people. Is it character driven or is it skill set driven, right? This is a very, very, very important distinction to make with employees because things that are character driven, meaning that it's part of someone's value, they don't have a high standard of work ethic, they're not motivated. These things are very hard to change in people. You can influence them a bit, but they're fundamental to who people are. The second thing, if it's skill set driven, then you can accomplish giving people the skills. You can focus on what skills do they need to have? How can I create proper systems and training processes to get them where they need to be? How can I mentor? How can I get someone else on my staff to mentor to give this person the skills that they need, right? So that's one of the things that you need to understand fundamentally is where are the difficulties with the employees coming from? My perspective is if I have an employee whose problems are more character driven, they won't last in my company very long. If they're skill set driven, meaning that this person has the right attitude, the right motivation, the right work ethic, and all of these things, then the question is, okay, how do I deal with those skills and get them the proper training and understanding? And then if I find out that they don't have the aptitude to learn, then we have to reassess their position in the company, okay? Granted, once again, all these topics that I'm sharing today, there's a lot more depth in all of them, but I just want to give you an overview of how to think about resolving these things so that they don't come up, or if they do come up, you have some framework to understand how to approach them. So what's the third most common problem that I see come up when you're running a juice business? The third most common problem is going to be handling theft in your business, and that's going to be from employees as well as customers. Now, depending on where you're located in the world, you might be in a neighborhood where theft is more or less common, but more so you have to think about theft from employees, okay? I'll talk about the first one with customers just to make it easy, okay? Have cameras in your store. And don't place anything that's really, really, really valuable right by the door because people can walk in and grab it and walk out. So depending on how your store is designed, if it's big, things that are valuable, move them towards the back of the store. Cameras help. And then just making employees aware to observe customers when they come in, to be in a situation where they don't have to be overly paranoid, but just to keep an eye on customers if things are there. Because yeah, some people might come in and they might grab a juice. They might, but like I said, this isn't going to be a very common problem in most cases, but it is something to be aware of. Now, with employees, same thing, having accountability in your books, right? So everything has to get put in the POS system, having a sign by the register that says, if you don't get a receipt for your order, your drink or your product and order is free, okay? So these are going to be things where customers are going to expect a receipt. Employees know they have to give receipts because there's many different ways that employees can steal from businesses. One might be actually going in to ring up an order and not actually putting it in the system, and then going and giving that product out and just pocketing the money from that order, okay? The other thing too is just in general, having a camera above the till, above the cash register. So you can look down and you can see everything that's happening. You can see the interactions. So if you have to go back and you suspect someone stealing from you, then you can go and look at the videotapes and see, does that seem right? Can you confirm that? Having accountability is everything. That will reduce theft because people, if they don't feel like they're going to be accountable, unfortunately, some people's nature is to see how they can take advantage of situations. And that might mean stealing from your business, which you don't want because that is going to cost you money long term. If people are taking $20, $30, $40 every single day, that's a problem. The last thing too is in terms of theft, it's not even just actually theft, it's actually having people at the cash register who are good at handing out cash, because some people might give away too much. So you want to have accountability. When you count the till at the end of the day, your POS system is going to tell you how much cash you have versus how much credit card sales, and you need to make sure that all the numbers line up in that situation, okay? What's the fourth most common problem that I see? Now this is running out of items. Now there's two areas where this is going to take place. It's actually running out of items that you have in your grab and go, and then it's also going to be running out of inventory items. And these are two separate issues to a certain degree. They're interconnected, but they're separate issues. Let's talk about running out of items in your grab and go. Okay, this is all going to be based on your projections, right? You are going to project what needs to be prepared for your grab and go based on your sales. Now, this is something that you're never going to be able to fully avoid, because there's going to be some times where people just walk in and then, you had planned to have, let's say 5 cheesecakes because that's how many you normally sell in a given day. But guess what? 10 people came in that day and it was just an anomaly. So there's a certain level of it that's unavoidable, but the best way to track it and stay on top of it is to always watch your sales, break it down categorically and by product. That's going to give you an idea of what the patterns are for growth and what people commonly order, so you can prepare accordingly. Now, lastly, when it comes to inventory, this is much more avoidable because you generally are going to have more inventory on stock, or you should. So you need to make sure that you have clear processes for your inventory so you can order things ahead of time and stay on top of making sure you don't run out of ingredients, okay? And if you do, what's the alternative? Unfortunately, you have to go to the grocery store or somewhere else local where you're going to be spending a lot of money on these items that you should be purchasing wholesale, okay? There's a lot more to that. Once again, we get more into it in the online course, links below, but I just wanted to give you an overview of the most common problems and what you need to think about with your business. What's number 5? Number 5 is, how do you deal with equipment breaking? Now, to a certain degree, there's only things you can do preemptively beforehand to be able to respond to that accordingly and reduce the likelihood of that happening. But you can't fully stop it, because machines are machines and they're going to break down, cars break down, all these things, okay? The first thing you want to make sure is that your equipment has a warranty on it. The second thing you want to make sure is that you have people on hand that you can reach out to in the event that your equipment breaks. You have service providers that can come to you and take care of your equipment. The third thing that you need to look at is actually just maintaining the equipment on a regular basis. So having people who come at a scheduled time to service the refrigerators and everything else. Now, the fourth thing that you want to look at is having some backup equipment, because depending on the equipment that breaks down, if it's a juicer and you have a hydraulic press, do you have a backup centrifugal juicer where you can still make juice for people if people come in, as opposed to just being like, hey, we have to shut this whole aspect of our sales down because somebody came in and wanted a green juice, and now you're like, oh, we just can't do that for you. So I suggest and recommend that you have backup equipment for as many things as possible within a reasonable spectrum, okay? So backup blenders, backup juicers. If you can do that and your budget allows, I highly recommend it, because yes, you're going to have equipment that breaks 100%. And the goal is to respond to it quickly, but also have backup options so that you don't have a situation where you can't service your customers and you lose money because of that. So those were the most common problems that I observed. Now, granted, these are operational issues. There's going to be more things that come up with when it comes to things like negotiating your lease, or dealing with business partners, and so many other things, marketing strategies and opportunities that are there. But these are some of the most common problems when it comes to the day-to-day operations of your business. I hope this has been helpful. If you guys need support with your business, we have a full spectrum development and consulting firm. Reach me at Andrew@StartAJuiceBar.com. Happy to discuss how we can help you with your business. Comments or questions, or you just want to tell me you like the video, put it in the comment box below. That always inspires us to keep creating content. Like the video if you haven't done it yet. It's free. We appreciate it. And then subscribe, notification bell like I mentioned earlier. And last 2 announcements. Follow us on Instagram. You definitely want to do that. We have exclusive content that we only release there. We have giveaways. We've given away business plans and other things. So follow us on Instagram. And we have a podcast. It's called the Juice Bar Experts Podcast on Spotify, on iTunes. You can listen to us there. Until next time, hope you guys are happy and healthy. This is Andrew McFarland with StartAJuiceBar.com. See you at the next video. Hope you guys have been enjoying the video content. If you're inspired to learn even more about how to start your juice business from scratch, For you, we have a free ebook. It's called the 15 Steps to Starting Your Juice Business. And this is going to go through a high-level overview, through a step-by-step process on how you get your business off the ground. Everything from, branding, menu development, finding the right location, and more. This is going to be a clear roadmap so you know how to go from where you are all the way to opening your store. If you want to go even deeper, we've also created an online course. It's called the Juice Bar Master Blueprint. This is going to go into great depth on everything from how do you put together and think about recipe development? How do you cost out your menu and what's the math around it? What equipment do you need? How do you design your store? How do you find the right location? And so much more. I know you're going to find a lot of value out of both of these. There's links in the description below. So I hope to see you guys at the next video and enjoy.